Have you ever considered what you would do if you started having a heart attack and there was no one else around? It's a frightening thought, but it's a scenario more common than most people think. Many live alone, spend large portions of their day by themselves, or are isolated from immediate help. In those crucial early minutes, your decisions can make the difference between life and death. It's not about being lucky or having medical training. It's about being prepared, staying calm, and knowing the basic steps that can buy you the time you need. The first thing to understand is that heart attacks rarely begin with sudden, dramatic pain like you see in movies. More often, they start with quiet, subtle changes that are easy to dismiss. You might feel a tightness in your chest, a sense of discomfort that doesn't go away, or an unusual fatigue that washes over you. Some people describe it as pressure or heaviness in the chest that can radiate into the arms, shoulders, or jaw. Others feel short of breath, dizzy, nauseous, or break out in a cold sweat for no clear reason. If you're over 60, it's even more important to recognize that heart attacks don't always follow textbook symptoms. For older adults, and especially for women, the pain might be centered in the upper back, neck, or even stomach, mimicking indigestion or muscle strain. This is where awareness is critical. If you notice multiple signs happening at once, like pressure in the chest, combined with breathlessness or sudden fatigue, do not wait it out. Do not downplay it. One example that comes to mind is a man named Harold, who was 75 when he felt a strange burning in his upper chest while reading on his porch. It wasn't sharp pain, but it didn't feel right either. After a few minutes, he noticed that he couldn't take a deep breath. His hands began to sweat. Thankfully, Harold remembered a news segment he'd seen about early heart attack symptoms and decided to act. He survived in large part because he didn't wait to see if things got worse. Once you suspect you may be having a heart attack, your next move must be immediate. Call emergency services. It doesn't matter if you're unsure. It doesn't matter if you think you might be overreacting. Medical professionals would much rather show up for a false alarm than arrive too late. Never attempt to drive yourself. You may lose consciousness without warning. Sit down, pick up the phone, and dial emergency help. If you can speak, calmly tell them your symptoms and location. If you're feeling weak, many phones allow you to press a single emergency button or activate help with voice commands. Know how your phone works ahead of time just in case. Once you've recognized the symptoms and called for emergency help, the minutes that follow are some of the most critical you'll ever experience. While you might feel powerless during a heart attack, especially if you're alone, what you do during this short window can make the difference. Between life and death, your next actions must be calm, deliberate, and focused on helping your heart do its job with as little extra strain as possible. One of the most important things you can do right after calling emergency services is to take an aspirin chewed, not swallowed. This one step may sound almost too simple to matter, but it's backed by decades of solid medical research. Chewing a regular aspirin tablet, about 325 milligrams, can help thin your blood quickly and begin reducing the size of the clot that's blocking your artery. That clot is what's stopping blood flow to your heart, and the longer it remains, the more tissue damage occurs. Chewing the aspirin gets it into your system faster than swallowing it whole. If you've ever heard that time is muscle, this is exactly what that means. Every second counts when your heart is in trouble. But you must also be cautious. If you're allergic to aspirin or on a blood thinner prescribed by your doctor, you should skip this step unless otherwise instructed. It's a good idea to talk to your doctor ahead of time to know what's safe for your specific situation. Let's talk for a moment about how fear can lead people to make dangerous choices. Some people, when faced with the panic of a heart attack, try to drive themselves to the hospital. Please don't. It's one of the worst decisions you could make. Even if you think the hospital is just down the road, or you don't want to bother emergency responders, the risk of losing consciousness while behind the wheel is far too great. You could end up crashing and not only injuring yourself further, but others as well. Remember this: the moment you dial 911, trained medical professionals are already on their way, equipped with everything needed to stabilize your condition. Let them come to you. Once help is on the way, the best thing you can do is stay completely still and rest your body. Your heart is already struggling to supply oxygen to your organs, and any unnecessary movement or effort puts more strain on it. Sit or lie down in a way that feels comfortable but supportive. If you're sitting, choose a chair with back support and place your feet flat on the floor. If you feel faint or dizzy, Lie down on your side with a pillow or cushion to support your head and neck. Avoid lying flat on your back unless you feel like you can breathe easily that way. Your goal is to reduce your heart's workload and conserve your strength while waiting for help. Sometimes, people feel embarrassed to call for help and then just sit there doing nothing. But doing nothing intentionally, calmly, and carefully is doing everything. By staying still, slowing your breathing, and avoiding panic, you're giving your heart the best possible chance of maintaining function while the professionals are on their way. Think of this as a quiet fight for your life, and stillness is your strongest defense. Now, if you still have a bit of strength and feel steady, one more life-saving step is to unlock your front door. That might seem trivial, but it can make a major difference. In emergencies, paramedics often have to break down locked doors to reach someone inside, and those few extra minutes could mean the difference between timely treatment and irreversible damage. If you live in an apartment complex, make sure your unit number is clearly visible and that entry instructions are easy to follow. If you're in a house, unlocking the front door and turning on a porch light. If it's nighttime, can help responders reach you faster. But only do this if you're able to move safely and without making your symptoms worse. If walking across the room makes your chest pain worse, stay put. Your safety comes first. You might also consider setting up a medical lockbox with a spare key outside your home. These boxes can be secured to a railing or doorknob and are accessible only by a code that you share with trusted people or emergency services. Another option is a smart lock that can be remotely opened if you become unresponsive. Preparing ahead of time could help you or a loved one day when seconds matter most. While you wait, your phone becomes your most valuable tool. Make sure it's nearby and switch the call to speakerphone mode. This keeps your hands free and makes it easier to breathe without the effort of holding a phone to your ear. It also lets the dispatcher hear more of what's happening around you. If you become weak or start to lose consciousness, they may still be able to guide the paramedics using what they hear. It's also a good time to make sure your phone's emergency medical ID is set up. Most smartphones have this feature. On iPhones, it's in the Health app. On Android phones, it's usually under the emergency settings. This ID holds important details like your medical conditions, medications, allergies, and emergency contacts, and it can be accessed even if your phone is locked. There's one more critical step, and it comes from within you, controlling your breath. In a moment filled with fear and pain, your breathing may become rapid and shallow. But quick breathing doesn't help. It can make you feel lightheaded, dizzy, or panicked. Try to slow it down. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold it gently. Then exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. This simple technique tells your nervous system to calm down, helps prevent your heart from racing into dangerous rhythms, and can even help you feel more in control. Practice this breathing regularly, even when you're not in crisis, so that it comes naturally if the moment ever arrives. So far, we've covered 6 of the most important things you can do alone during a heart attack. Recognizing the signs, calling 911, chewing aspirin, remaining still, unlocking your door if possible, and using your phone wisely. Each of these steps is about buying time, reducing risk, and maximizing your body's ability to survive until help arrives. In the darkest, loneliest moments of a medical emergency, the mind can easily spiral into fear, confusion, and despair. But one of the most underrated tools in your survival kit isn't something you can buy at a pharmacy or learn from a manual. It's the power of your own thoughts. Mental clarity and focus can help guide your actions, calm your body, and give you the strength to endure. If you find yourself alone, in pain, and scared, tell yourself 3 words: stay calm, breathe. Repeat them like a rhythm. That single mantra can help you center your thoughts and avoid panicking, which is a common response when the body goes into distress. Panic causes your body to release more adrenaline, which raises your heart rate and blood pressure, exactly what you don't want during a heart attack. By focusing on something simple and steady, like a mantra or your breath, you redirect your body's energy away from chaos and toward survival. Visualization can also be a surprisingly helpful tool in these moments. Picture yourself getting through this. Imagine the sound of the ambulance arriving, the faces of loved ones, or even something peaceful like sitting on your porch watching the sunset. These images can ease your fear and keep your mind grounded while you wait. You might be alone physically, but you are not alone emotionally. Someone is already on their way. Help is coming. You just need to hold on. If your symptoms begin to fade slightly before help arrives, don't assume the crisis has passed. Many heart attacks come in waves. That initial reduction in pain can be misleading, luring people into false confidence. Some people decide to cancel the ambulance or convince themselves they don't need medical care after all. Please don't make that mistake. Once a heart attack begins, it can escalate suddenly and without warning. Even if the pain subsides, damage may still be occurring inside the heart. Stay on the line with emergency services and let the professionals decide when it's safe. When the paramedics arrive, try to stay conscious and communicative if you're able. Let them know your symptoms, what time they started, what actions you took, like chewing aspirin, and any relevant medical conditions. If you have a written list of medications or allergies, hand it over. If you're too weak to speak, your emergency medical ID on your phone will speak for you. And if you've set up your home properly, unlocked doors, visible address, accessible lighting, your rescue team can move faster and more efficiently. Once you've made it to the hospital, your journey is not over. It's just begun. Surviving a heart attack often marks the beginning of a new phase of life. You've been given a second chance, and while you may feel shaken, vulnerable, or even uncertain about the future, this experience also opens the door to reflection and change. It's time to examine what led to the heart attack, what signs may have been overlooked, and how your health habits might evolve moving forward. The aftermath of a medical crisis is an invitation to slow down, to listen more closely to your body, and to take your health seriously. This doesn't mean living in fear, it means living with awareness, knowing the warning signs, being prepared, and taking better care of your heart through diet, exercise, and stress management are all key parts of your recovery. Also, talk to your family and friends about what happened. Let them know where you keep your medications, where your emergency contacts are listed, and how they can help if it happens again. If you're not ready to talk about it, write it down and leave instructions somewhere accessible. You've walked through a fire and survived. That knowledge may help someone else one day. Heart attacks don't always strike with dramatic warning. Sometimes they begin quietly, with fatigue, discomfort, or shortness of breath. And sometimes they strike when no one else is around. But now you know, being alone doesn't have to mean being helpless. You have the tools, the plan, and the strength to survive. Keep that knowledge close. Practice the breathing. Keep aspirin nearby. Set up your phone and home for emergencies. And most importantly, trust your instincts when your body tells you something isn't right. You're not weak for calling for help. You're not overreacting when you recognize a symptom. You're being wise, proactive, and strong. The very act of preparing is a form of self-respect and possibly self-rescue. So as you close this video, take a moment to do something simple but powerful. Leave a comment below. Share what part of this message resonated with you most. Maybe it was the idea of breathing through the fear. Maybe it was the reminder to keep aspirin in your kitchen drawer. Maybe it was simply knowing that your phone can carry your medical history when you can't speak for yourself. Whatever it was, write it down. And consider sharing this video with someone you love. It might be the gift that saves their life one day. Thank you for spending this time with us. Remember, you're never too old to learn something that could save your life. Be well, stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next video.